Hey, all my dad hooligans out there. How's your night going? How's everybody doing? This is DadPool's Discussions. I am your host, the one and only DadPooL. Yeah, that's right, DadPooL. So, how's your Sunday going? How was your week? Did you have a great weekend? I know where I live, it's getting kind of chilly out. We're about to get that snow, so it's starting to turn. Gets dark very early. It's just it's crazy. Time is just flying by. Like, I can't believe Thanksgiving is coming up, and then Christmas, and then the new year. It's just unbelievable how fast things go. But how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are enjoying the content. I hope you guys had fun for DadPooL Halloween. I had a lot of fun doing the 31 days of DadPooL Halloween. Reviewing all those horror movies. It was such a great time. And then I capped it off with some live trick-or-treating. So yeah, next year it looks like it might be coming back next year, but I'll do different movies, of course. Maybe I'll make it more of a suggestive based. You guys let me know what movies you want, and I'll just watch them each day and do a review. But before we get into tonight's video, just want to make sure you guys have dropped a follow or a sub, depending on which platform you're watching this on. Make sure you hit the like button, share it out, and then hit that notification bell so you guys know when videos like this are released and new content is out, and when there are announcements. And then find your way down to the description. There's links to the IMDb's of both movies and a documentary, and you'll see my links for Twitch and YouTube, Discord. Make sure you join that. We'll be doing some Discord only events. Check out my podcast, which I got to finish up. I'm finishing up I want to make sure I get enough videos or enough recordings done so I can put out. I owe you guys a lot, so I need to continue on the Ravens Reckoning story, and then I got some new ideas for maybe like another 3 or 4 part story. So I got to get that put out for you. But the podcast link is down there. Make sure you guys drop a follow. Go listen to what's out there. There's like 6 episodes. They're about 4 or 5 minutes each. It's all original, all horror related content. So short stories, short forms. Go check it out. But we're here tonight to talk about Horror Then and Now. And the movies that we're going to be comparing and contrasting and discussing is The Hills Have Eyes, the 1977 original versus the 2006 remake. First of all, have you guys seen these movies? And what are your thoughts on them? Before I get into mine, let me know down in the comments below. I'm curious. Now, these movies really epitomize comparing it, how good a remake is to an original. There's very few remakes that are better or on the same level as the original. Usually what happens is they water down the characters, water down the story, try to modernize it too much to really deter from what the original brought. But this movie kept it moving. This movie felt like I was watching the 77. It felt like I was watching the original. Like these two are great. And yeah, they made sequels to each one. And then they made like an off-brand. If you guys are into Asylum movies, yeah, those Asylum, that's a studio that kind of does their own take of blockbuster films like Transmorphers or Snakes on a Train, I think it was, instead of Snakes on a Plane. But yeah, they did a Hillside Cannibals one. Again, the gore was cool, some of the visuals were cool, but the story and the acting is just tough to get through. But I'm not going to tell you not to watch a movie. I know you hear that a lot from other people, and you're going to hear it from me too. I'm not going to deter you. Watch it. Let me know what you think. Everyone has their own opinion of a movie. And again, these opinions these are mine. And that's why we have a comment section for us to discuss it. And you guys can share your thoughts and opinions on the movies I'm talking about. So, doing a comparison of The Hills Have Eyes, the original versus the remake, it was a little challenging in the same sense of me doing Hellraiser A7 versus Hellraiser 2022, where it was kind of like they were opposite direction films. They were almost like two different stories, but still in a way made you feel like you were watching that adaptation from Clive Barker, just told in different ways, different perspectives, different characters, different visuals. But in this case, both films were so well done that it's hard to choose a winner. In some cases, it's I would choose A7 Hellraiser over 2022. I would probably pick unpopular. I'd probably pick the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street over the original. But both of these films follow the same basic storyline pretty closely, which is, like I said, not provided in all remakes, which involves a family crossing the desert on their way to California. Soon after stopping at a remote gas station, they crash their vehicle and become stranded. It's not long before a family of cannibals descends upon them, and then all hell breaks loose, and it's just torture and terror for that family. The main thing that makes both the original and the remake so effective is that the characters are realistic and well defined. I'm kind of glad the filmmakers in both cases understood that you don't need long, drawn-out scenes of exposition and character development to make the viewer attached to the protagonists. Both directions wisely opt to efficiently establish everything you need to know about the characters with minimal but telling interactions. In both of the films, you really feel for these people who are trapped in a horrible situation and feel that they are doing the best they can to figure out a way out of it, and essentially a way to survive. Because in both these movies, the families are, like I said, before they're attacked, they're ambushed by these cannibals, mutants, so to speak, and there's a car crash, and they're forced to, they separate. A few of them go off on their own. So when you separate, you do become weaker, and they did that. They did that. The mutants, cannibals, they did that on purpose. They knew what they were doing by separating the family. And then just the torture that, of having your kid kidnapped and abducted in a violent way. Like, it's just a lot to go through. And I think both movies demonstrated those scenes quite well. Both films are, like I said, they're brutal, mean-spirited stories without any levity once the action gets underway, which is what I love about them. It's great to see serious, visceral horror with characters you actually care about. Movies like this also aren't shy about killing them off, so the stakes are actually high because any of them could die at any time. I find this to be much more satisfying experiences than waiting for a cast of cheap stereotypes to get butchered. Because the whole movie, no matter which one you watch, I did not think Doug would be a survivor. I didn't think Bobby would be a survivor. I didn't think Brenda would be a survivor. Those are the three that I thought we're gonna be killed, be out of the movie, But again, that's just goes to show that these movies establish that these rules that every character or no character is safe. Like there's no protection. And these movies, like I said, in a violent, insane way, demonstrate that. Definitely. I mean, the kills are brutal. The kills are definitely brutal. While the story and the characters of the original are great, there are currently some areas that could have been tightened up a little bit. First of all, the outfits worn by the cannibal family, some of which had a bit of a almost like a Halloweenish put together costume, like they bought from like a thrift store and just kind of just dressed themselves, had that kind of vibe. In addition to munching on human flesh, said the family also had a bit of a habit of chewing the scenery, and some of the performances would have been more efficiently menacing had they been tempered just a little bit. Another issue is the gore, which I don't have a problem, but some people do have a problem with gore, which is certainly good for the 2000s, or even like the late 70s. It's good for the era, but at times kind of looked a little bit dated and even fake or unrealistic in today's standards. Again, Hills at the original is 46 years old, and the remake is 17. So it's not like something that just came out this past year. Where the stylistic of horror kills is just somewhat a little bit better, more inventive. Some of them are tropes, but it's more inventive to me. It's just, again, my opinion. Just to be fair, the remake has the advantage not only of modern special effects, which look fucking amazing, but also a solid story that is already laid out for filmmakers. Still, there were some interesting alterations that director Alexandra Asia made to Wes Craven's original film. Perhaps the most noticeable of these is that the cannibals are significantly more deformed in the remake, which is a result of a nuclear radiation from tests performed in the area over the years. This makes them more monstrous than the cannibals in the original, whose minor abnormalities stem back to a patriarch born with a mysterious genetic condition. Right from the brilliant opening title sequence that features chilling footage of real nuclear bomb detonation, Asia establishes nuclear proliferation as an underlying theme throughout the film, and in effect, the true genesis of the monsters themselves. To this point, the monsters could in fact be perceived as representing the merciless destruction caused by nuclear weapons when used against average civilians. And again, let's talk about some of the looks. So here's a comparison of Pluto from 1977 to the remake. Original versus remake. Original on the left, remake on the right. And there's not much as far as, like I said, major abnormalities with the original film. They just look like backwoods kind of, wilderness kind of individuals. Whereas the remake, really, I mean, look at this. He kind of looks like a cross between Sloth and Jason. And he even has like a sloth mentality, because he's like, he makes those ooh and ah, like those weird sounds that almost sound like something Sloth would do from the Goonies. To be honest, the story almost kind of feels like the Goonies, because they kind of got to go on an adventure, and you kind of got to make a rescue, and I don't know. I got Goonie vibes from the remake. I don't know. Am I the only one? Did you guys maybe catch that or feel that way? I don't know. I just kind of felt that. But Pluto was so menacing. The remake monsters were so they were scary. Like Lizard, crazy looking. He definitely mutated. Ruby, um, Mama. I mean, I was reading that the actress that played Mama in the remake, they paid her $1,000 to shave her head. And then the guy, Jupiter, the one that was in the wheelchair that was all deformed. I mean, that was terrifying. And then the kids, when the little kid's like, Mister, do you want to play with us or something? I was like, what the hell? Like, those kids were creepy. And then the one kid was just, I mean, granted, those are the only ones of the family that were done with CGI effects, because the boy just didn't look real. He was like too ashy and dirty and looked like he was burned. The other family members were more practical prosthetics effects, and even one of the most famous and probably the best FX artist out there, Greg Nicotero, made an appearance in the remake. He played the character Cyst, as seen right here. He was one that had the halo on, that was kind of chasing Doug and around the town and in and out of the car. Yeah, it's Greg Nicotero. He not only is he an amazing visual effects person, special effects. He does some acting in his parts. His roles. He goes all in on them. Whether it's a Walker from Walking Dead, or a character from this family. It's just he loves what he does. And getting back to the original, where they kind of looked like this is Mars from the original. He doesn't look too much of a it reminds me, him and Behrman's character kind of remind me of something out of Wrong Turn, like those kind of backwoods inbred through generation after generation of inbreeding. That this is what they look like. They weren't so terrifying. Like, yes, it'd still be scary to see this anywheres, but looking at something like this with the remake, that's even worse. But yeah, what do you guys think? Did you guys like the looks of the family, Cannibal Family? Did you were you a preference to more of the original, or did you like the more sinister, deformed, mutated look of them in the remake? Let me know down below. So in conclusion, the 2006 version is a rare example of exactly what a remake should be. You take a film from decades before that has a solid, worthwhile story and update it with sleeker production values and more visceral gore for today's desensitized audiences. The most important thing, however, is to keep the elements that made the original film work in the first place, which Asia has done while infusing it with his own style of gorgeous brutality. If more remakes followed his example, the concept of remakes in general wouldn't carry the well-earned stigma of simply being a way for Hollywood to make a quick buck with minimum effort, which is so true, because it seems like Hollywood now just wants to make remakes of old films, and some work and some don't. And that's the reason why I wanted to do this for November. I wanted to do the remake versus the original, because there's so many good horror remakes out there that deserve to stand up with the original. And in my opinion, The Hills Have Eyes is one of those franchises where the remake is equal, if not better, than the original. Of course, the original is going to have your nostalgia. It's gonna have that air. It's gonna have that grittiness. It's gonna be that period horror piece. Um, but so true of the remake. It's so true of the 2000s horror. It just fits very well. It came out of a time like I said, when Wrong Turn was out, and this was a huge draw. And again, it's not like Asia, you know, put his own like take on it and spin and made some crazy distorted version of this movie. It was very true. It was almost like a shot for shot of the original. Again, with the exception of a few different characters, and the looks of the characters just were upgraded. But it was still terrifying. You still felt every kill. I mean, my dog, who loves to watch movies with me, especially whenever there's a pet, whenever there's an animal on screen. Next time I'm gonna record her, because she was sitting there watching the two German Shepherds in both movies and just watching every move. And she kind of was sitting up straight. And then when they showed, I think it was it Beauty, that was kind of gutted in the beginning, in the movie, when Doug is out, or Bobby is out looking. She kind of like sat down and put her head down. It's like she knew something was wrong. Like when movies kind of draw on your pets, that's kind of insane. And again, no animals were harmed in the making of that movie, or either one, but it was just visually, it's what was added to the remake. You see the one mutant, the one cannibal eating the leg of the. It was just so graphic, and every kill was so graphic, especially when the one character gets blown up when they, again, Goonie vibes, when they're setting booby traps in the trailer. They decide to turn the propane tanks on, and then tape matchsticks to the door, and when the door slid, boom, it would ignite. And I think it was Papa Jupiter. That's the character that passed away. I think Billy Drago played him. He gets blown up, and then they show his body just destroyed, like burnt, and like there are so many cool kills, cool scenes, and I love it. I love both these movies, and I hope you guys enjoy them too. So again, this whole month of November, I'm going to be doing this comparative nature of original versus remake. And before I get into what I'll be doing next week, let me just show you. Like I said, I always like to add some DadPooL pictures that are mixed in with the movies that I'm reviewing. So here's if DadPooL was starring in The Hills Have Eyes, this is what he would look like in the original. Tell me that doesn't look like Michael Berryman's character in a way. I mean, take the hair off, but just the eyes. I know I have 3 eyes, but like it's Michael Berryman-esque. And then here's this one that just almost looks like Mars's teeth. It's kind of they're really gangrel and sharp and gnarly. It's a cool mutant. Look at those eyes. And then there's this last one right here. It's like a melting mutant face. So again, I like to play with creating pictures, and like to add, it adds a little extra, little unique spin on the movies that I'm reviewing. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys are enjoying it. So let's get into next week. And oh boy, is this going to be a great week. It just keeps getting better and better. So next week, the movies I'm talking about are the Amityville Horror. The original that came out in 79 versus the remake in 2005. Again, not going to get into it right now, but another example of a remake that is so much better than the original. Not saying the original is bad, but the performances and the modernization of the Amityville Horror, especially with Ryan Reynolds. Oh my God, what a performance! But we'll talk about that next week. So make sure you hit that notification bell to know when this next video drops. So let's get into what we got coming up next month in December. So October, we had DadPooL Halloween, 31 days. November, we have Horror Then and Now. And then December, we have 25 Days of Christmas Horror, where I got a couple surprises for you early on in the month. And then the rest of the days, I'll be watching maybe one, maybe two different Christmas holiday themed movies. Majority of ones I haven't seen. I want to see new ones. So I'll be reviewing them the same way I did during DadPooL Halloween. Just gonna, touch on, the cast and crew, the plot, the themes, the effect it had on horror, on the genre, and my love for Christmas and love for holiday themed movies. So be sure to stick around for that. And then in January, we have a new series coming out called DadPooL Discussions Presents Two Can Play This Game, where I'll be discussing the sequels of horror movies, and if that sequel either hurt or helped the franchise as a whole. We all know there's a lot of sequels out there. There's a lot of these number 2 movies that just don't do the franchise justice, and there's a lot that do the franchise justice. So I can't wait to bring that to you. That will be, I want to say, a 3 to 4 episode per week. Could be more. Just, a minimum 3 to 4 episodes per week. So that's 3 to 4 different franchises with sequels. So I'm putting together that list now. Can't wait to bring that to you in January. And then there's 2 things. The next one, which will also be in January, is a podcast called DadPooL's Horror Stack. And the premise behind this podcast is I'll be reviewing horror movie adaptations. So a movie that was a novel that became a film. So we have, maybe like Cujo, maybe The Dead Zone. It's probably going to be a lot of Stephen King related content, books, but I'm looking out there for other content, other books that I think the Ring. I think The Ring, or not The Ring. One of the Japanese horror movies was a graphic novel first. Again, I'm gathering that list. This is something I just was thinking about last night, and I'm like, let me just make a logo for it and me make something for it. So yeah, that's something new that's coming out. So if you like horror novels, you like the movie counterparts, you're definitely gonna love this episode, this series. So again, with this and all my episodes, all my series, if you guys want to come on and talk about something related to the topic at hand, by all means, reach out to my Twitter X. Send me a message. We'll get you on. You want to come on? You want to talk about Firestarter, the book versus the movie? whether it's the original with Drew Barrymore or the remake, we could talk about it. Just send that message, and we'll coordinate a time and a topic of discussion, and we'll go forth with it. And there's one thing that I want you guys to help me with for future content. So I had this idea of DadPooL kind of holding up horror, putting horror on his back and running with it. So I want you guys to give me an idea of what you think this should be about. How should I handle horror? Maybe it's VHS versus DVDs or Blu-rays, because there's different features that are associated on that. Maybe it's documentaries of horror movies, which I love documentaries. Maybe it's even true crime, real horror. Maybe there's a serial killer that you want to talk about. You guys will dictate what this series will be about, and give it its name. So be on the lookout for that. That's an idea that I've been throwing around, and I just want to kick it out there so I can involve all of you, and you guys can help me create this journey and create this content and move forward. So again, get in the comments, hit me up on the socials, let me know if you want to talk about horror, if you want to talk about a sequel to a movie, if you want to talk about a Christmas horror movie, or if you want to maybe throw out some ideas for this podcast. Again, I'm very reachable. Easiest way is probably probably Twitter X is the easiest way to get a hold of me. But I do, you can message me on TikTok as well. I'm just not good with responding to messages in TikTok because I get so many and it gets really jammed up and so many notifications. But yeah, Twitter X is the 100% best way. So again, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for all of you. You guys really motivate me to be the best that I can be, despite everything that's going on in my life personally with my health. That's a challenge in itself. That's a separate challenge. Putting out content like I was and like I continue to do and what I plan to do is another challenge, but I'm gonna overcome all those challenges. You know why? Because it's one, I don't quit. I got a lot of fight in me, and I don't give up. So that's why I want to involve each and every one of you. So if there's something that you want to talk about, something about horror that you love or you hate, it can be both ends of the spectrum. You could either love it or hate it. We'll talk about it. We'll have a discussion. So yeah, that's where we sit for November, December, and January and beyond. And there also will be some other things happening with, collaborations with other channels, with other YouTubers to do different retrospectives. So again, the only way you're going to know what comes out is by hitting that notification bell. But before I go, I just want to thank some individuals who have really provided a lot of positive, kind, encouraging words. I want to thank Real Talks, David Steele. He's a great guy. Go check out his channel. Real Talks, REEL Talks on YouTube. Go check him out. I want to thank Jahan from Jahan's Gaming. Dude is putting out content. He's a grinder. He's got his own team with a lot of like-minded, content creators like Chaos and Trip FM. Go check them out on Twitch. Go check out Jahan, Team Dynasty. Go check them out. Great supporters, always sending positive words of encouragement, sending me. I appreciate the motivational videos that I get in my inbox daily, and the funny ones to make me laugh and kind of break up the hardship that's going on. So I appreciate you guys. I think my son's a strong kid. Gotta thank him, man. Like he's enduring a lot. He's only 13. Go check his channel out, DadPooL Gaming. He's a grinder, streams Fortnite, hasn't missed a stream in like 3.5 years. Go check him out. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end this video. And before I go, just want to quickly recap for the people that maybe tuned in a little late that we talked about tonight. We talked about The Hills Have Eyes, the 77 versus the 2006 version. Again, if you get a chance at a later date, watch this video, comment, let me know what you thought about both of these films and the franchise as a whole. If this is one of your favorites, this is something you have seen, or maybe it'll be a first time watch. Maybe watching this video will make you want to go watch it. They're on Tubi. All the sequels and that Asylum version's on Tubi right now for free. So go check it out. And then come back in the comments and say, hey, yeah, I liked it or hated it. I didn't like this, didn't like that, or I love this and love that. I want to know. And then, so as I always say, go watch a movie. So you can watch this movie if you like, or you can watch any other bit of content. You got, you're starting to get a lot of holiday themed content coming out. Again, my go-to is Pluto TV. They have the best selection out there, and it's all 24/7. It's all free. You just gotta, endure a few commercials here and there. Some are 30 seconds, some are 10 seconds. But the content is great. It's uncut, it's original, it's not altered for TV. It's in its true nature as it was made for us. So definitely check that out. And then hug your loved ones, because time is not always on our side. And I gotta say this before I go, like we all have had issues in life, whether it's with people, health, job, finance, whatever. We just have to find a way to get through it. And you should never hold grudges. I've admittedly already come out and said what if I could have made some different choices in life, and I'm trying to make up for that. So again, keep your loved ones active, hug them, tell them you love them, and just be nice to each other, be respectful. And on that note, I'm going to end the video. I'm going to say good night to everybody. I'll catch you next week with another episode of DadPooL's Discussions, where we will be talking about the Amityville Horror. Hope to see you there. I love you all. Have a great night.